I miss the days when you used to walk into a store and see a game and pick it up, but nowadays it's not like that. And unfortunately, for us physical collectors, it's even worse because we need the physical copy in our hands. And it's been harder than ever to do that with the rise of digital games and the fall of physical games. So in this video, I'm going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly of physical collecting as a physical gamer. Now to start though, I want to preface that I'm a physical collector through and through, but I am what you call a practical collector. So that means I don't buy every game physically. I do have a digital library as well. I don't collect video games just for the heck of it. All my collection in my possession means something to me a little bit, and I've played my games that I collect. They're not in sealed copies or anything like that. I wanted to say this because I just want to let you guys know I'm not a deep physical collector, but as a person who's not really in there as deep, it can still be overwhelming and annoying nowadays. But there are good things, and that's what I'm going to start with. The good about physical collecting. The first point is it looks nice on your shelf. Now that might be a little bit shallow, but I do like to display my collection on my shelf. And I like it when the sleeves match, though sometimes I like it if they mix and match to add a little bit more character. And I do love steelbooks and their spines. Very nice, and you could do a whole bunch of decorating with your game cases, and they just aesthetically look pretty. So as shallow as it may be, a big part of it is because of the aesthetic and the look of the games on my shelf. And the next point is the box art. Now, box art admittedly have gotten really lazy nowadays, but there are some really nice looking box art, especially with indies or games that actually try. I love seeing them, and it makes buying a physical copy more worth it because the art looks so pretty. And there's also collector's edition that just look amazing. Now admittedly, I don't collect a lot of collector's edition because they don't tend to come with a lot of things that warrant the price, but the ones that I do get, like the future Zelda collector's edition, it looks gorgeous, and I can't wait to display that because oh my god, even the box looks gorgeous. I know a lot of people joke about you having a ton of boxes of your old consoles, but that's because they put thought and love into the display of the item that you don't want to throw it away. So the next point is not as shallow as the previous points, and that point is you don't have to worry about connecting online to download a game. Now this is true for some, but this is not true for others. So let's just say you have a game that has heavy online like Splatoon 3, you're gonna have to be connected online either if you have a physical or digital. So in some cases it's a moot point. It doesn't make sense. But in other cases, you could actually just start the game without downloading it or being connected online, which is good because the Switch is a portable console and you're not going to be online everywhere you go. So that's one of the big perks of having a physical game. Though, again, when you download a digital game and it's all downloaded, you could play that one off online as well. So it's a point that is kind of not a point anymore, but I still want to point it out because it's still a thing, but it's just not as big of a thing as it was before. And to add on, the game physically belongs to you and you can maintain the disc or cartridge if you store it correctly. So with this, again, it's a double-edged sword because while you do own the game physically, to update it, you do need online access. And you could also have something digitally and own it, but the lines are blurred because Nintendo could just stop the support of it and it doesn't work. So that's why a lot of people like physical, because they know that if they have the hardware that's maintained and the software that's maintained, they can still play it even if it's not the upgraded version or whatnot. They can still put it in their Switch and play it. And that's the reason why a lot of people collect. Not necessarily me, but I've heard a lot of people just want their copy to be theirs, which is a valid reason. Another example is the 3DS. The online store is shutting down very soon, this month actually, so get to that while you can. But I have the DS games that I have and I want, and I feel confident that it's more secure if I have a physical copy of it than a digital copy of it. Because your game still will work digitally, but But then again, it's up in the air how much power you have over a digital game than a physical game. And the next point is something that I don't see a lot of physical collectors talking about these days, but it's still a big thing, and that's lending your games or selling them. If you have a game physically, you could actually use it however you want. You could give it to your sister, or you could sell it at GameStop for pennies. It's yours. So keep that in mind. If you have a lot of brothers and sisters or friends that like video games as well, you probably want to go physical so you could lend them out if they need some, or trade if you want to. So those are all the neat perks that comes with physical collecting. Now on to the bad. And there's a lot of them, unfortunately. But before I get to the bad and the ugly, I don't want this video to be like, do not physical collect, I'm all digital or whatever. I'm still gonna collect physically. It's just that I want to vent basically on the struggles that we have to go through, and hopefully some of these things change down the line. But yeah, this is just a venting section for me because it can get really annoying to physical collect. Really annoying. And all you physical collectors out there, you could probably relate to these points as well. So, starting with the bad. Alright, so this one's not as bad, but the space. You're gonna have to have space to put these games, because if you buy too much games and you don't have the space for them, they're gonna be all over the place. So, you want to keep in mind what kind of space you're working with. I have a very small space to work with. I do everything in my room. I'm recording right now in my room. So I don't have that space to display collections and figures all over the place. I hope so when I move out, but now that's not my timeline. So I gotta work with the space I got. And that's the key, working with what you got. This is why I love collecting for the Switch, because the cases are very tiny and they don't require a lot, so you can stack a lot of them up without needing more space. So it's not too bad, it's more of an annoyance, but you could work with it with what you got. So the next point is a very annoying point. And a lot of people who physically collect could probably relate to this really hard. And I'm sorry. That is, delivering and shipping is always a hassle. Alright, so depending on which stores you get, shipping could be either really expensive or really annoying. Amazon, for example, I've never had a good experience with buying games online on Amazon. It always comes late. A lot of people get some early and I'm just like, that is never me. So it's a thing that we have to deal with on a constant basis. You're gonna have to battle customer service all the time, refunds and all that jazz, and your game being in the middle of nowhere in the ether or something. If I were to describe it, it's like a gamble. You're gambling if your package is gonna get to you safely. When it does, you're like, oh man, that's a relief. But when it doesn't, you're like, oh man, where's the phone? Gotta call customer service now. And we all hate being in customer service. So that was the bad. Now these are more annoyances than anything, and they do grind my gears, but the next section, the ugly, is the ones that really grind my gears and really make me question why I even do this in the first place. Why do I have to like physical collecting? And that is the ugly. Ugh. So the first point is scalpers. Man, scalpers. Scalpers are basically people who buy rare or collector items to resell them for like twice or even 10 times the original price. Lovely people. I hate them. Anyways, I don't hate a lot of things, but I hate that. That's so wrong. So scalpers are basically your one-note villains in a game where they twirl their little hair and say like, ooh ha, we got the item, now you gotta buy from me 10 times the price. You know what kind of villains I'm talking about. Yeah, that's them. And it's not only games, things like amiibos and accessories fall into this category, especially with Nintendo. We want to just buy items to enjoy it. Scalpers, on the other hand, don't want to enjoy the items or don't even know what it is. They just know it's rare and it's gonna make them money. And one of their tactics that they use is bots. Bots are automated machines that pretty much could buy something and put in an address and name and card and all that stuff without the scalper having to wait in the line like everybody else. And since this bot is not human, it could go way faster than average human and buy a lot of copies at a rapid pace. Before anyone can even put it in their cart, it's already gone. Good example is the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 was hard to get, especially in the first year, like really hard to get because of bots and scalpers. And it just made my blood boil when I would go on Instagram or Twitter and see all these people with stacks of PlayStation 5s and they're scalpers. And the only real solution to this problem is not buying from scalpers. Do not take the bait. Even though you want the game or whatever, do not buy from a scalper. Stick together, brothers and sisters. Let's stick together. Oh, and companies, please do not make it easy for them to do that. So a good way to do it is releasing them to stores physically, because a bot can't do that physically. It can't walk into a store. So the next point really goes hand in hand with my previous point, and that is having everything online. Do not do that. It's annoying. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, I don't want to sit here and go back in my day. We used to just go in stores and buy a game, but it's true. That's how it was back in the day. Just walk into the store and get a game. They might be sold out, but you probably go to your next store and find it. Nowadays, it's more nuanced than that, unfortunately. One example is the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. Now, they decided to shadow drop this collection for fans in the middle of the night. Now, I know that somewhere else is not the middle of the night, but for a lot of people, it was the middle of the night, and a lot of people grabbed it while some people were legit sleeping. So it wasn't fair to the fans or to potential customers because they couldn't have access to it, and they only sold it at that time on their shop, so the window was very small. And I got a lot of people mad because it's one of those collections that fans have been wanting for a while, including me, to play the original 6 Final Fantasy games. And plus it was really expensive. That's besides the point. It was really hard to get. Now they did do a other badge for Play Asia, which was easier to get, and I thank them for that. So that was one example of an online only exclusive going array, and I hope that they don't do this anymore. I know Limited Run and other websites like that have been doing it. That's why I don't like Limited Run. And the next point is something that I've been seeing recently, day by day, and that is companies veering away from physical collecting and into the digital age. Now this is sad because it's inevitable. Physical collecting is not going to be here in like 20 years or something. Or if it is, it's going to be weird or a niche thing. And it's sad because I know that companies want to do this digitally. And we all know it, but it's starting. And it's sad to see it start. Because it's like, man, this is going away soon. And it just makes me really sad. I don't blame the companies because if that's the way it's going, then that's the way. Like CDs. I didn't get sad when CDs got replaced by iPods and digital stuff because it's more convenient for me and I didn't really like CDs in the first place. But when it starts getting into the territory that you do like, it hurts to see. It really does. It makes me feel old, but it makes me really nostalgic and sad for the past. Nowadays, game cases only come with the game inside. They don't have manuals or anything like that unless it's a special edition or it's part of the quirk of the game. But usually you don't get nothing in the game. While in the past you got manuals or other little tickets or whatever to make it seem more physical. Now it's just the game. If you're lucky, you get box art inside, but most just have blank box arts inside. So we've been seeing it little by little start to change, and it's really sad. One example is Koei Tecmo and Atelier Marie. Now, Atelier Marie is only getting a physical copy in Japan, but in the West, we don't get a physical copy. It's all digital. It just breaks my heart. But that being said, now more than ever is an opportunity to collect physical games. Most of this video was me venting about how bad physical collecting is. To me, it's still worth it because I have my collection of games that I love, and I know that collection will follow me until I get rid of them or something happens. But I'm really proud of the collection I have, and physical collecting, even though it's not as glamorous, it's still something worthwhile in the end, even with all these annoyances. Now, there's other aspects of physical gaming that I did not touch upon, And if you have any experiences or things you want to talk about, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear it. So, with all that being said, hit that like button if you like, and if you like my content, I would love to see more. Please hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 10K. Might be a bit of a stretch, but hopefully by the end of the year. So I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of the day, and as always, play a good game, physically or digitally. Peace, peace.